Ever wondered how to accurately estimate a mid-sized multifamily project without missing critical scope items or wiring details? This is a 3-story, 29,000 square foot, 35-unit apartment building, and today I'm walking you through my entire electrical estimating process, step by step, on this real job. Hey everyone, this is Chris with Estimating Expert. Welcome back to the channel where we break down real-world electrical estimates so that you can bid sharper and win profitable work for your business. Today we're diving into a 3-story, 35-unit apartment building. I'm going to show you exactly how I set up the job, organize the bid, perform takeoffs in LiveCount and Accubid, handle the scope, and make smart decisions based on specific wiring methods. So I'm going to be honest with you. Electrical estimating can be a pretty long, boring, and monotonous process. I've put a lot of thought into how to present this information to you so that it's concise, engaging, and informational. So to save us some time, I've already set up the job folder, created the Accubid estimate, labeled and extracted the takeoff drawings. I've uploaded them into LiveCount, and I've set the scale and status of each drawing. So let's go ahead and get started. The first part of any given estimate that you want to do is understand what is the project. This one is a multifamily residential building, studio apartments, 29,185 square foot. There's one building. There's 3 levels, there's 35 units, there's 3 different unit types, and the overall building height is 33 feet. Occupancy classifications include A3, R2, and S1. Construction type VA, exterior walls are 2x6 wood stud, interior walls mixed between 2x4 and 2x6 wood studs. Deck heights on each floor is 11 foot, ceiling height is 9 foot throughout the building, and then you got wall, ceiling type of drywall throughout. The scope of work includes furnishing and installing the light fixtures, the lighting control devices, switchgear in the electrical room, load centers in each of the units, and then power safety disconnects for various pieces of equipment. Wiring methods. We're going to use non-metallic cable, also known as Romex, for branch wiring. Feeder conduit is PVC underground and then EMT risers. Feeder cable is going to be copper THHN. Boxes are going to be non-metallic, plastic, and fasteners with the wood studs are going to be wood screws and lags. Bid items. These are prices that you're going to put on your proposal. Sometimes your client asks for separate breakouts. Sometimes there's alternate pricing for different scopes, different phases. Sometimes things come up in the job. Like for example, on this one, we have our base bid, which is, everything that's included normally. And then if you have, for example, there's design flaws. There was some missing garbage disposal switches in certain units. Alternate 2, there was some missing microwave receptacles. Alternate 3, which we'll dive into, the heat pump and the fan coils. These weren't a fully coordinated set of drawings. The heat pumps and fan coils weren't shown on the electricals. Alternate 4 is copper feeders, and we'll dive into the alternate. So the copper feeders is actually part of the base bid. And then as an alternate deduct, we offered aluminum feeders on this project. The next thing I move to is the proposal. It's important to get your proposal set up. Typically I'll have a template for each client. I'll put in their client name, the address, city, state, zip, phone number of the business. I'll date it for what the bid date is. I'll fill in the contact for who I'm sending it to. I'll fill in the project name. I'll do any bid items here. I'll fill out the project description, what it is, square foot, levels, construction type. I'll reference the drawings, engineering firm, date, etc. I'm going to show you the proposal for this project. It's redacted because it was for a real client, but as you can see, there's multiple bid items which we'll address when we go through the estimate. Let's see, we have a project description. New construction, 29,180 square foot. Reference drawings, it's important to note what exact drawings that you're bidding. You never know when this might need to go to court. And then you start as you're going. I build the proposal as I go so I don't miss anything. What you're doing, light fixtures, switchgear, safety disconnects, branch wiring, etc. Okay, so now that we know what the project is, a little bit of a slow start, it's time to start getting into the meat of the project. The next thing you're going to want to do is start getting quotes. We got to get quotes on our light fixtures, our lighting control devices, our switchgear, and our disconnects. So let's start with light fixtures. So when you're ready to start counting light fixtures, the first thing you're going to want to do is locate a light fixture schedule. And it's going to look something like this. And you're going to have all your fixture types. These ones, we've got some exterior strips, some wall packs, lantern style, pole lights. Sometimes what I like to do is go through and look at each type of fixture. I don't always do it, but these are the carport fixtures, the A fixture, B fixture, these are wall packs. C, we've got some lantern style fixtures. D, those are the pole lights that are on the site that you can see right here in the entry. Then we have, oops, let me open that back up. We got some 4-foot linear LEDs. We've got some 2x4 fixtures, some 2x2 fixtures, some down lights. We've got some vanity lights, and we got some exit signs. The X1 is a single face and the X2 is a dual face. And then on the drawing, sometimes this happens. There's fixtures that show up that aren't on the fixture schedule. In this case, we had some dual head emergency fixtures that showed up, and you're going to want to make sure you capture those. Once you're done counting up your light fixtures, you're going to put everything on a quote request. And mine looked like this. This one's redacted. You can see I've got all my light fixture types, all my counts, and then anything specialty as far as lighting control devices go. And then when you go to, when I start, I mean, this is a blank drawing, but when you look at the site, you can see here I started with the site. I got my A fixtures, B fixtures, C fixtures, D fixtures. And when you look at how I built them, you can see the carport fixture, I've got the fixture, some screws, some wire nuts, B fixture, wall packs, box, wood screws, C fixture, wall packs, wood screws, wire nuts, D fixture, the pole light, anchor bolts, wire. So in Accubid, you build your fixture and then you start counting fixtures. Then once you get your site done, you move on. You got your first floor light fixtures. We got wall packs, linear fixtures, wall packs, lantern style fixtures. Second floor fixtures, lantern style, linear, stairwell fixtures. Third floor, same as the second basically. Then you get into the unit drawings. We've got an amenity space that I mentioned. We've got some downlights, a 2x4, some 2x2s, vanity. Units, we've got 3 different units. As I mentioned, it's a 35 unit building and the units vary. So this is an S1, so you get all your fixtures counted up, your vanities, your downlights, S2, S3, and then you multiply your units out to get your counts. Once you have sent your quote request out, your vendors are going to come back with a price, and it's going to look something like this. This one again is redacted. This is a quote that came back. It's a cost for all the fixtures. You can see you want to make sure you check all your counts, make sure your fixture types are all there, make sure all your accessories are there, make sure your controls are there. Then you get your price. And what you'll do is you'll come over into your quoted material area and you'll quote, you'll put the price in. And that takes care of fixtures. Switchgear. When you're ready to start counting switchgear, you're going to want to locate your one-line diagram, typically, and then you're going to want to locate a layout for your electrical room. So in this case, we have an electrical room on the first floor. You've got MDP1, MDP2, these are meter stacks. Then you've got a main switchgear here. You can see this is the new service entrance switchboard. That's right here. And then we have 1,000 amp board with meter packs, and then another 1,000 amp meter board with meter packs. Then what you do is you start counting everything up. If you go here, and then you can see that, and again in Accubid, when you do your distribution, you count everything up. So I counted the lighting relay panel, Here's your 1600 amp board, which I've got anchored to the floor. 1000 amp MDP, which I've got screwed to the wall. You've got the meter packs here. 1000 amp with meter packs, appropriate number of meter packs. Then you have each one of the unit panels that gets counted. And basically I just put wood screws and washers with bushings for each panel. And once you've got all your switchgear counted up, you're gonna have another quote request that looks something like this. You've got your main service entrance, you've got your MDPs with meter packs, you've got each one of your unit panels for each unit type, and then there's a 200 amp house panel. When that gear quote comes back, typically on bid day, you're gonna wanna, again, just like your fixtures, double check everything, check your service entrance, check your MDPs with your meter packs, your panels, and your disconnects. You'll get a cost. You'll bring that cost over to your estimate and put it in. And that's switchgear. Okay, as far as feeders go, you're gonna go to the one line diagram, which I had it pulled up here and now, okay, so one line diagram. This one, we've got 5 4-inch going in. As you can see, they didn't show on the drawings what they were actually including, so I referenced the utility drawings. In this case, we had 5 4-inch. So you have 5 4-inch coming from the transformer into the service entrance. And these are gonna be empty conduits. The power company is responsible for providing the cable, pulling the cable, and making all the terminations. The rest of the feeders, I mentioned we have separate costs for. So if you go here, I estimated the copper feeders as an alternate. So copper feeders are separate from the base bid because we estimated also aluminum feeders underground so that we could compare the cost of copper versus aluminum feeders and show that as a deduct option to the client. So if you look at here, we have our copper feeders that are all underground. And then on this one, I noted where each one of the panels are. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I basically just ran these conduits underground under the slab, down where they go, and then rise up. So the first one will just pop into the bottom panel on the first floor. The second one will rise up right next to the panel, drop into the bottom of the panel on the second floor, and same with the third floor. And those are the copper feeders. So you can see the copper feeders here, all for the first floor, second floor, third floor. Then what I did to make things fast, I went to the enlarged electrical drawings. I copied, I did all the feeders here on this drawing in copper. So the service entrance cable going out to feed the MDP1 and MDP2, you can see in copper. And then as far as aluminum feeders go, what I did was I sized them and then I copied everything over and then I substituted the items appropriately. So you can see here we have an alternate cost for aluminum feeders. You go from copper to aluminum. So it'll be the same runs, same lengths and everything like that, just different cable. And that takes care of feeders. Wiring devices. First floor electrical plan, there wasn't anything on the site. First floor electrical plan had a couple GFIs and a receptacle, and I'll show you how I built those. Basically, it's just a box, cover plate, a couple wire nuts, and a device. Same here with the receptacle, box, receptacle, cover plate, wire nuts. Then second floor, there wasn't any devices. Third floor, there wasn't any wiring devices. Basically, everything was on the electrical drawings. So the amenity space had some receptacles, some quad receptacles. Mostly all the devices were in each unit. And you had everything has to be tamper resistant. So you had GFIs, you had weatherproof GFIs outside on the patio. We had smoke detectors, CO2 smoke detectors. We had range receptacle, 50 amp. We had a dryer receptacle, 30 amp here. And we had switches for the FCU. And then you also look at lighting controls, and the lighting control devices we had switches, dimmers, pretty basic. And you get everything counted up on each drawing and then multiply it out, and that gives you your device counts. I'll show you how I built some of the devices. Showed you the receptacles already. Switches, basically same thing, box, cover plate, device, 50 amp receptacle, box, device, cover plate, 30 amp receptacle, box, device, cover plate. So pretty basic. Then all the wiring, branch wiring we'll get into next, that, you know, ties everything together. Branch wiring. Starting out on the site, as you can see, we have these canopy fixtures that are fed from the electrical room, and then we have some pole lights out here around the perimeter and some pole lights here. Basically, we've got PVC with number 10s going out to the canopy, rising up on the post, and then EMT connecting everything together. And then we've got PVC dropping out on the same circuit going to these pole lights, and then we've got PVC going to each one of these pole lights. Going to the first floor, branch wiring for all of the fixtures, and I used a mix of 12-2 and 10-2 Romex. One thing I wanted to mention is there's a lot of these, you see these yellow orange marks right here. Well, these weren't fully coordinated electrical drawings. The heat pumps on the roof were not on the electrical drawings, so they were in the panel schedules. And the fan coils were not shown on the electrical drawings either. So what I did is I took the locations of these heat pumps and I correlated them with each unit, and I ran 12 wire up to the heat pump and then 12 wire back down to the fan coil, because those condensing units feed the fan coil on the inside of the unit. And so that's why it's a little convoluted here, but I just marked those up. That's something you got to watch out for. If you don't include that stuff, you got to make sure the electricals and the mechanicals are coordinated. Second floor, basically just light fixtures, tying light fixtures together. Here I used 10 wire, 10-2. Third floor, same thing. These are all fed from the house panel. You can see those dual head emergency fixtures that weren't on the fixture schedule there. Then you get into the enlarged electrical drawings. You got the amenity space, all the branch wiring, tying all the lights together, all the receptacles together. Same with the units. There's a unit panel in here, and the unit panel is behind the door in the front entry, so everything feeds out of there. And typical unit, you got your fridge, you've got your two kitchen circuits, you've got your laundry circuit, you got your dryer, your range, you got your lighting, you got your receptacles. Everything ties in together, and then your units multiply based on the typicals. And that takes care of branch wiring. Grounding, very important. A lot of times on the one line, most times they show grounding the way that you need to do it. This one, they don't show grounding. But it's definitely important not to forget grounding because it's required by code. So when you look at the grounding, we go to the first floor. Let me change this to grounding. You've got a water bond, and that water bond, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at your plumbing drawings to see where that main water line comes in. And in this case, it comes in all the way on the other side of the building. And that is going to be a 3/0 copper, and so very important you don't forget that. A little bit of money there. And you look at the electrical main electrical room, you've got a gas bond, which the gas comes in here, also on your plumbing drawings. Then we've got a UFER, and that takes care of grounding. Last but not least, when it comes to takeoff, we have communications and television. In the amenity space, we have a few data outlets. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in each one of the units, there's a TV. Now, on this one, the client asked me to go ahead and estimate and put Cat 5e cable to each one of these data outlets and an RG6 to each one of these televisions. We didn't end up actually using it. I zeroed out the cost. But if we go to the first floor here, you can see these data runs here. I just ran them to the electrical room. And you can see they run to the amenity space here where they go on the enlarged drawing. And then as far as TV goes, you can see these TV runs for the first floor. Go to each TV, boom, boom, boom. Second floor, same thing, running from the electrical room. So we just bring all those cables in and just let them sit for someone else to terminate. Third floor, same thing. And so, as I mentioned, we didn't end up including data and television in this estimate per the client request. They've got someone else doing it, but that takes care of data and television. Bid review. Now that we have completed takeoff, it's time to start going through the material and labor. Labor is usually calculated pretty accurately. You can see this is Accubid's extension screen, and you got all your total material, all your total hours. As far as material pricing goes, sometimes, for example, my client here has a hot sheet that they get every week or every couple weeks that has EMT cost, PVC, wire. In this case, I think at the time copper was really volatile, so what I did is I put everything together on a quote request. I put all the boxes, all the receptacles, everything, all the dimmers and all the specialty devices, all the elbows, put all that on a quote request. And I put wire on a quote request too with all the quantities. And they sent it back in a quote with all the prices. And so what I did is you take those prices and you transfer them over into your estimate here. And you can see all of our fixtures here don't have a cost because we have a quote. Gear, same thing, no cost because they have a quote, but they do have labor. EMT, all per the hot sheet. Anything you see in this trade price column is something that I got quoted or came from the hot sheet. So we got PVC conduit that's quoted. We've got all the wire is priced. So all the THHN, all the aluminum, all the Romex, all quoted. All the boxes are quoted. Ceiling wires, we got switch plates and devices, all quoted. And the bid review process is really important. So you want to make sure your materials is nice and tight. You want to make sure your hours make sense. And that's what we do is go through the material and labor on the extension screen. We look at the top cost items. Number one, THHN here was the biggest cost because there's so much of it. Look at the hours. Dial anything in that you want to dial in to make sure that you're being as competitive as possible, but you also don't want to short yourself on hours if you don't think that your people are capable of meeting the hours. The next tab we go through is direct labor. Now everybody's labor composite is going to be different. We have, this guy, for example, has 2 journeymen, a foreman, and an apprentice composite rate of 87.37, and you can see it divvies up the hours appropriately and it gives you your labor composite rate. Indirect labor, incidental labor is the next tab. Usually there's no incidental labor. There's definitely not on this one. Labor factoring, this tab is typically used for if you have say you're a union contractor and you get raises, it's a long project. Excuse me. Labor escalation, none. Indirect labor, project manager time usually goes in at about 5%, so there's 170 hours of PM time at $75 an hour. I charge my time, part of the estimate. Subs, there was no subcontractors. General expenses, usually you put in about a little bit of money just in case you need stuff, right? You need gloves, you need saw blades, different things you might need throughout the job that come up, a little bit of a slush fund. Also, this money can be used as a negotiation tactic. If you're a little bit high on the bid, you can cut some of that. Equipment, we don't have any equipment. The site poles were 12-foot poles. We can stand those without any equipment. This one, my client wanted to put in a tugger, to pull in all the wires, so we included a $5,000 cost for that. Quoted material, we already talked about that. We got light fixtures, $88,000. We got distribution at $59,000. Brings you to your final price. Now, your material tax, you want to make sure your material tax is right for wherever you're buying your material. And then you have your overhead and you have your markup. This guy wanted it at 10% and 10%. So it compounds, so it's roughly 21%. And then he wanted a little bit of a contingency in there just in case. And so that brought the final price to $785,586. Now, that's the total price, including copper and aluminum feeders, and that's not right. So what you want to do is you want to go to your breakdown screen, and it divvies everything up based on takeoff. So as I mentioned, we had some missing garbage disposal receptacles. Some of the units had missing microwave receptacles. The heat pumps and fan coils were not included on the electricals. I included all those separately. Then we estimated the copper feeders and the aluminum feeders separately. And what you do on this breakdown screen is it shows you all your different prices, right? And this cost is negligible. It probably could have went into the base bid. Microwave receptacles, negligible. But what you have is your base bid, your building, all the installation of your switchgear, all your feeders, all your wiring devices, all your branch wiring. Then whatever's associated with the garbage disposals, whatever's associated with the microwave receptacles, whatever's associated with the heat pumps and fan coils. That's the disconnect switches, that's the branch wiring. Then we have our copper feeders, $164,000, and we have our aluminum feeders at $164,000. Now we separated those so that you could see the difference. Once you get to these numbers and your final price is good, you get your breakdown. Then what you want to do is you get to your proposal, you pull that proposal up. And the way that you show that, and this is the final piece, is you got your base bid, right? Which is aluminum feeders. Copper feeders. So you got your base bid plus your copper feeders. This one ended up being $639,000, so that's per spec. And you've got your missing garbage disposal receptacles, your microwave receptacles, your heat pumps, fan coils. Then you've got an alternate deduct of $33,097. And that number is a result of subtracting this number from this number. And that's just a way to tell the client there's a little bit of a better way to do this. Then on the proposal, we also offered a temporary power and lighting budget of $5,000. And the proposal is the final piece. As I mentioned, I work on these as I go. So light fixtures, switchgear, we talk about branch wiring, feeders, we talk about wiring devices, we talk about comm and television. This one we only included boxes. We included grounding as required. We included temporary power. We included general stuff like cleanup. Then you have your exclusions on your proposal. Anything you're not doing, it's important to note. Any demolition, we weren't building the concrete light pole bases. We weren't doing any excavation. We weren't including any secondary conductors and terminations. We weren't including any utility underground boxes, transformer pads. We weren't installing any data or television cable connectors, cover plates, etc. No permits, no negotiating of utility payments and acceptance, no cutting and patching. Anything not shown on the electrical drawings, basically, we're not including. Not including any HVAC control wiring. That's thermostat cable, control wires, etc. Also, there was a landscape drawing. We didn't include any landscape light fixtures and cabling. Typically, the landscape contractor can handle all the low voltage stuff. It doesn't make sense to have an electrician do it. The next important piece of your proposal is your scope clarifications. Now, these are things that are caveats to the proposal, or if they're design flaws, these are things that you want to note and bring to the attention of your client. So this basically is just outlining things that were missing. This missing switch on E60, missing switch at the front entry for lights, panels, show a microwave calculator, but the design doesn't show a receptacle. That's the microwave receptacle that was missing. Detail one line drawing. No conduit and wire sizes were shown for one of the feeders, so you want to make sure that you clarify what you included. So any clarifications basically, and there was a lot of clarifications on this one. We showed lead times, we showed what our standard work hours are, and then there was some other language that my client wanted to include in here. But that's pretty much it. I mean, once you get your takeoff done, you get your quotes in, you do your final price, and then finish your proposal, and then you send it off to your client. Okay, that's it. It ended up being a little bit longer than I expected, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Feel free to comment, ask me for new videos, ask questions, and definitely hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. All right, thanks a lot. See you, bye.